Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Mad Tinker Gaming with me, Travis. Now, the last time we came to you, and I say we because it was a collaboration effort between my wife and myself, we opened a box of Strangers of New Valhalla for you. And I was pretty happy with the box overall. Kind of disappointed in my specific pulls because I was looking for Mistletanes and Guinevere's, and I only got one of each. It would have been nice to have more, but they are super rares, so I can't really fault for that. I did get one of each of those. And previous to that, I had opened up a Force of Will starter kit, a blue starter kit. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to deck tech one of the J rulers out of that starter kit with some of the cards both from Strangers of New Valhalla and A New Dawn Rises, which both of those sets are the current ones in the New Valhalla cluster. Now I'm going to be doing this video over the J ruler Arthur. Now I've already gone through, I've taken the liberty and gone through both of my Strangers of New Valhalla and my previous stuff that I've accumulated, and I've picked out machines which work with Arthur and try to uphold the Arthurian legends. There's only a few that might not make the cut for you as far as Arthurian legend goes, but I think they will be really good components in the deck. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start this deck tech. Alright everybody, this is Arthur. Now Arthur is just a blue machine ruler. He's a Divinity of 10 with a judgment of 3 blue, and he energizes for a blue. When you activate him, this is what he looks like here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read this off to you. He has Divinity of 10. He's flying. When he enters, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 machine resonators from among them, and remove them from the game. Put 100 counters equal to the combined total cost of cards removed this way on this card. When this card enters the field, perform the effect. Now, I don't have a whole lot of high casting cost stuff in here, but it's not, I'm not really basing it around trying to get Arthur as the kill. I'm probably going to kill you with the creatures I've got. So one reason I'm using it is just because you get some extra counters on him. You can figure out some stuff. He's not going to be very big, and if I need to change some things around, I will. There are a couple of other cards from outside of the game that I feel might impact it, but for right now, this is how we're going to look at it. Now, I chose a bunch of creatures based on speed, efficiency to get them out and to play them. There were a lot of good 1-drops in the set. The first one I found was Vivian, the Mechanical Fairy. Now, Vivian is a flying. Whenever another machine enters the battlefield under your control, put a 100 counter on this card. Remove 2 100 counters from this card. Rest target resonator. So she's going to keep building up stuff on her every machine you play. So I wanted to get cheap machines to play to pump her up. I think she will be probably more of your attacking based creature. Then Donut Drone. It's banish this card, put 4 100 counters on target machine resonator. Play this ability only during your turn. Now he's just a basic 200, so you play him, and then you're going to pop him pretty much to put 400 counters on this girl right here. And that means she's going to be like a 7/7 flyer on turn 2 that's just going to be ridiculous. When she comes in, she's a 3/3. You play him the next round, she becomes a 4/4. You blow him up, she's an 8/8 flyer on turn 2. That's really good. I don't see a lot of people having a combo to stop you hitting them with 8 damage on turn 2 right off the bat. I don't see it. Next is Guinevere. Now, we only pulled one of her out of her box. I wish I had 2 to 3 of her, but she is really good. When she enters, put 2 101 counters on target machine resonator. Banish a machine, put 2 101 counters on this card. Tap, remove a total of 12 101 counters from any number of machine resonators you control. Search your deck for a card named Super Mobile Fortress Camelot and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your deck. Okay, now she's the gimmick card. That's why I only want maybe 2 of her. She does help you get the Super Fortress or Mobile Super Fortress Camelot, but I think because she's so weak, she's only a 0/2. Even when she comes into play, if you put the 200 counters on her, she's just a 2/4. There are a lot of things that will get rid of that. I don't see her actually sticking around on the field, but it is kind of cool to have her as an extra gimmick just in case you get her off. You know, have her be out there as a 2 of or a 3 of in the deck. Probably just 2 is what I really want in the deck, and we'll run it from there. Then Lancelot. When he enters, put a 100 counter on each machine resonator you control. Remove 3 100 counters from a resonator you control. destroy target resonator. So this guy's big. This guy's huge. Remove a total of 10 101 encounters from any number of resonators you control. J resonators your opponents control lose all abilities until the end of turn. Destroy all resonators your opponents control. So pretty much, this guy, once you get 10 counters out there, you're going to pop them and wipe their entire field. I mean, all of them are gone. So that's really good. They lose all their abilities. They die. They don't get any effects. It's great. Gawain, the Swift Knight. This card gains swiftness as long as there is a 100 counter on it. Now, Gawain's really good. I would like to go with 3 of him and run 3 mortared, but I only have 2 mortared, so I put 4 in here just to make the deck run currently. Then this guy right here, Precision Guided Munitions Skybeat. This has nothing to do with Arthurian Legends, but it is a flying. Machines you control with a 100 counter on them gain flying. This is ridiculous. Even if it's not Arthurian based, it's still a machine. It's still going to get the benefits from it. And you put it out there on turn 3, and everything you've got's got flying. I mean, everything you've got's going to have 100 counters on it. So it's a great card. Now we come down here to our 4-drop slot. Mordred. Put a 100 counter on any number of target machine resonators. You can tap him and pay a blue, recover another target machine resonator, and put a 100 counter on it. So this guy is big. I would like to have a 3rd one of him and 1 less of my Gawain, but we'll see. Then this is the gimmick card. This is the card that your Guinevere is supposed to help you get. Super Mobile Fortress Camelot. It is a flying. Return up to 2 target resonators your opponents control to their owner's hands. If you control a card named Guinevere the Mobility Queen, destroy those resonators instead. Now, that's why I just want 2 of her. I think you're going to end up hard casting this for 6 more often than not. I don't think you're going to get to gimmick her in. So just 2 of her as an extra 1-drop slot, and we'll see if you get lucky enough to get that combo out. Then right here, the Night Castle in the Sky, Sky Round. Machines you control get a +100/+100. Whenever a machine resonator enters the battlefield under your control, put a 100 counter on it. It's a 2-drop. It's easy. It's an addition. It sits there. Anytime you play a resonator, you're getting 100 counters, and they get stronger. So I don't know why you wouldn't want to run this. I put 4 of them in here. Some people might want 3 to add something extra in, but it seems like it's a solid card. I had 4 of them. I'm figuring I'm going to try it out, and we'll see how it goes. For my spells right now, I have a Torrent of Energy. It's a Divinity 2. Now, because it's in the deck, the Divinity doesn't matter, but I did keep 1 outside the deck so that I can put it into my Rune area if I so choose. You pay 1 more to play this card from a Rune area. Okay? Return target resonator to its owner's hands. If you control a machine resonator, put it on top of its owner's deck instead. So you're going to get to put something back on top of their stuff. So if it's something that's annoying you, just sit it back on top of their deck and make them have to replay it continually. And it gives you a way to get through one of those nasty blockers that you don't really like. Erendite. It's a quick cast as well. Cancel target automatic ability of a resonator. If this card was awakened, destroy that resonator. Its awakening cost is 1 blue and 2. So for 4, you get to stop something being activated and destroy that creature. That's a really good card. If you don't have 4 mana though, for 1 you just get to stop it from getting its activated ability. Here's Skyfall. This card gains quick cast as long as it's in your hand and you control a machine resonator. Return target resonator to its owner's hand. Then the last spells I've got here, it's a quick cast as well. It's rest target resonator, rest up to 1 second target resonator if you awaken it. So once again, for 2 you rest something, for 5 you rest 2 things. Now, when you look at this, there's also runes. Now runes are an extra playable source of cards. Now I chose 5 that I think would be really good for it, and I'm hoping you all will agree with me here. Now, I chose Skynet. It's a 5-drop. It's a chant master rune. It's a Divinity of 2. This right here is what it looks like. Okay. It says you may pay 2 less to play this card if your J ruler is Arthur or Arthur King of Machines. This card deals damage equal to the total attack of machine resonators you control, divided as you choose to any number of target resonators your opponents control. So with that rune right there, you get to pretty much, if you've got a whole bunch of built up machines, wipe out their field. It's great. I also chose Caliburn, the Sword of Judgment. It's a divinity of 3. Target 2 resonators your opponents control. Your opponent chooses one of them and returns it to its owner's hand, then banishes the other one. So that's kind of a way to clear the field. I don't think it's the best card. It would probably be one I could sideboard out, but it's still a good kill card to get your way through. I also chose one that I think may have been designed more for Loki, but it's called Petrification. And it says resonators your opponents control don't recover during their controller's next recovery phase. So you got these guys set out here, you wait for him to try to swing in, then you hit them with Petrification. Guess what? You have an open board the next time to hit them in the face. I think that's a very good card. I think it's worthwhile. Bullet Ball Thunderclap. It's a divinity of 2. It's a quick cast. As an additional cost to play this card, banish a resonator. This card deals damage equal to the banished resonator's attack to target resonator. If this card was awakened, it deals that much damage to that target and to your opponent instead. Now, for 1, you just get to deal that much damage to a resonator. But for 4, you're going to hit that resonator and your opponent. And because it's in your rune chant area, you can just wait. You can bide your time until you decide, oh, look, I've got my 1200 super mobile fortress out here, and it's got a boost from this plus 100 counter. It's a 1400. I'm going to deal 1400 damage to that big creature you've got and 1400 to your face. And it's really good. And now, the last one I have was a 0-drop card called Maintenance. It's put 2 100 counters on up to 2 target machine resonators. Now, I've got it in this because I'm not sure how fast you're going to get counters on stuff. And I think it's probably one of the ones that I could sideboard out relatively easily. I mean, I've got it in there because I thought it was pretty cool. Get extra counters on machines. It'll be good. But we'll see how that goes. Now, I will get to the sideboard. When you have your J ruler activated, he's out here on the field. He still has his divinity of 10. Now, the divinity cards we have currently here, there are 5 of them to make a 5-card deck with him. There are master runes. The master rune is one that is assigned specifically for this ruler. It can't be played in any rune deck except with this ruler. Okay, that's one of the big things, and it's got a divinity of 2. The master rune for this one is called Antimatter Cannon Excalibur. Play this card only if your J ruler is Arthur or Arthur King of Machines. Your opponent separates all non-magic stone, non-J ruler entities they control into 2 piles. Put all the entities in 1 pile on the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. So, I guess they get to keep the other one. So what happens, this one can only be played with Arthur. These other ones that are blue can be played in any blue deck because they're just runes. There are, well, this is a master rune as well. Okay, this one goes for Loki. So let me go ahead and open this up because I guess the decks really do play off of each other, so you can just have the master runes out here and I'll talk about them. I forgot about how they packaged these. Let's see if I can get this thing open here. The other one was a nice, easy open. Okay, there we go. The other one was a very nice, easy open. And this is your Loki. Loki's a Divinity 10, a Judgment of 3, just 2 blue and 1, with an Energize of 1 blue. You may pay 2 less for the awakening cost of spells you control. If you awaken a spell multiple times, you may pay 2 less for each awakening. Now, awakening in this would be if you play magic like a kicker, to make a spell do something better. But here is the master rune for Loki. And Loki's master rune says, you play this card only if your J ruler is Loki or Loki the Witch of Chaos. Remove a target resonator from the game. You gain life equal to its defense. Okay, now those are your divinity cards. I'm going to go through here real quick and pull out all the other divinities. Okay, now that should be all the divinity possibilities. Now, when you're playing a divinity spell, if it's a rune, it has to go into a rune deck. There are some in the actual card game itself that are a little different. They're called chant runes. Chant runes can go into your actual main deck as well as a spell. Okay, so if it says it's a chant rune, it can actually be in your deck instead of in your rune area as a spell, and it can be played in any deck whatsoever. I believe as it stood, the last time I got to play this down at their shop, the colors of your rune had to match the color of your ruler. And I mean, that seems fair because most of them don't work very well with other things, except for your chant runes. Chant runes could be played in any color deck. I mean, if you had a black chant rune, you could put it in a white deck. If you had a white chant rune, you could put it in a blue deck. But it had to be a chant rune instead of a basic rune. And that's the ruling that we had at the time. They may have changed. I will check up on that and follow up with you on any further changes to that. Okay, yeah. No, here's another one. I knew there was 10 total. There we go. So there's all 10. So like I'd say, you have the ability to pick the master rune for each of these guys and then up to 4 additional runes to go with it. You don't have to use the master rune, but you can have up to 5. So let's say we put these with her. You would look at the divinity count, right? 2, 2, 2, 2, and a 3. That means at most they're just going to be able to play 4 of these because you can only use up to a divinity of 10. So if she casts this spell, that's cost her 2 divinity. If she casts this spell, it's cost her 2 divinity. You've cost this spell, it's cost you 3 divinities. So that's a total of 7. If you play this one, it's cost you up to 9 divinity. You don't have enough to cast the other spell. You have to have 2 divinity to play it. So you have to pick your divinity spells very carefully to match up with your ruler so that you can get the most out of your divinity play. You don't want to run a whole bunch of high-end divinities like divinity 3 spells in a deck because you'll never get to cast more than like 2 or 3 of them, and sometimes they're more helpful to do it the other way. But these cards are absolutely gorgeous. So if you want to, I'm going to show you some of the artwork here if we can get it to come up a little better. See, well, that light's kind of blinding. The artwork is an anime style artwork. Can you see it right there? Let's see if I can zoom in a little. No, it's not letting it come down. There we go. It's an anime style artwork. Now, the card art themselves is very gorgeous. It's very clean. So, I mean, it's just, my camera might not be picking up the best in the world. For me right now, it looks kind of fuzzy. Like I said, this is a start, but it's a very anime style basis. Like, this card is called Consume. And play this card if your ruler is Loki. Okay, so that's one of the main ones over here. My bad, that's one of the big ones. This one right here was one I was looking at earlier. Called Overflowing Knowledge. And it's 2 blue to draw 2 cards. I mean, it's very simple. These things are basic transition for Magic games. You have a rune, which would be like a sorcery. You have chants, which are sorceries. You have runes, which have this word called quick cast. Quick cast would make it be an instant. Let's see if you can see it right there. There we go. Like this would be a quick cast. You can play it at instant speed. You have creatures in the game. Your creatures here have a attack and a defense of 400, 400. Sort of like in Magic the Gathering or anything, you have a defense that is a power and a toughness in Magic the Gathering. This creature would be a, for example, if you knocked it down to just basics, a 4 and a 4. And the only big difference is in this game, this formatted game, when you attack individually. You don't attack all at once. You send an attacker, they can declare a blocker, they can play spells, they can respond to it. The game itself is very well done. The cards are very beautiful. The artwork, in my opinion, is very gorgeous. Like if you're just looking at this right here, these 2 J rulers, the artwork on it is absolutely wonderful. And I hope people who see this will be able to get out and go to their local game store and actually ask the local game store to stock up on some of these cards. You're missing out. Look, the cards, they stay flat. They don't bend up. They don't do anything crazy. I've got cards that have been in my car that have been there for over a year. Cold, hot, it doesn't matter. I pulled one out the other day that was a foil even, like this one right here. And it was just barely bowed. It did not look like a Pringle. I'm talking, it looked almost like this. I would say if you put it in a sleeve, it would go back to perfectly flat. The cardstock from this medium, the cardstock from Force of Will, beautiful. The cards themselves, the design work, everything that's been put into this game by this company is amazing. And I hope people can come and try to take part in some gaming experiences or go down and ask for them to do a demo of Force of Will for you. Like I said, you've got a mechanized soldier, you've got a Percival, the Shining Knight, Scarecrow Guide, Witch's House, Donut Drone, Gawain, the Swift Knight. And, you know, the names of these, guess what? You're recognizing them now because if you know Arthurian legends, Gawain is a big guy. So was the Percival up here. Gretel of the Misty Woods from Hansel and Gretel. Hansel of the Misty Woods. Loki's watchdog, Fenrir. The Mechanical Bishop. And then the stones, like in Magic the Gathering, you have stones that are of different colors and types. But look at these. These are gorgeous water stones. The blue water dragon on them. This is a blue stone. And you get in the decks, you get half of them are regular and half of them are shiny. Actually, more than half of these are shiny. Looks like you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shiny ones and like 4 common ones. So you can have a foiled out stones right here, just in the starter box. And the cards themselves, like I said, they're absolutely gorgeous. I would highly recommend going out and picking up at least a starter. Like I said, this top ones right now are the white one, the black one, and I believe Arthur here with the brand new set is pretty big right now, but I could be wrong. But originally when this came out, there were fairy tale things. So you had Alice in Wonderland, you had Dorothy from Oz, you had Grimm from Grimm's Fairy Tales, and you had Arthur and the Dark Arthurs and all the different characters, and they were recognizable. And now they've gone back to that. They're a more recognizable format, it seems to me. And I think people will enjoy this game a lot more. So please, if you're interested in this game, which I'm still going to keep promoting, I'm going to do some deck builds here soon, and we will try our best to make this into something bigger here. I would like to get my friends back into playing again if they're in this local area, and if not, we'll maybe get new players to come and try to test it out. Go to your local game store, see if they can pick you up some demo decks, see if they can buy some starters to get you started out, and just even play with it with your friends. If you play Magic, I'm not saying give up Magic. Magic is an old school game. People don't want to give it up because it's ingrained into them. But this is a very easy transition. It's 5 colors. You have white, blue, black, red, green, and there was colorless a while back. And they do have multicolored cards as well, like combo cards that are white and blue and black. They do make those, the same as with Magic. The cards play relatively the same, but you have a 40 card deck, minimum of 40, maximum of 60 card deck, which you build your deck around with your J ruler. You get a 5 card sideboard already in play for you to just be able to pick from that are runes that will have to match your ruler's color or be a master rune for him. And then you have a 10 to 20 card stone deck. And the way you would call a stone, let's say we're in the middle of a game, right? To call a stone so you never end up getting mana screwed, which is an actual terminology, mana screwed, it happens. You rest your resonator and call you a stone. Well, he's not a stone. And you'd call you a stone. And then now you've got 1 stone. And then when it becomes your next turn, your resonator untaps or recovers in Force of Will. And then you rest him, call you another magic stone. And then these produce what we call will in this game. You tap these to produce will. Sorry, rest them to produce will. I'm so used to using the tap phrase when I was playing Magic. You rest them in force of will, and it will produce will of that color. Now, you cannot rest a ruler, call a stone, and then activate him. You cannot do that. You have to actually either call a stone or activate him. That's the only thing. That's the only big rule that I know of in the game that is a non. You can't change it. You have to do it that way. So I mean, it's very simple. You never really get mana screwed. You never get mana flooded. You get the amount of mana you want. You get to play the deck you design, and it's like a commander style variant for Magic the Gathering, but with a deck that you actually get to play instead of, oh my god, I don't get any lands. And I've enjoyed the game design and the mechanics of these games. I believe everybody should go out and at least get a starter deck of this and play with your friends. Like, go buy different starter decks. I'm very fond of the black starter deck myself. I would say try that one out first. It's very good. But if you can't get it, all of them are pretty much of an equal power level. They're not going to be super busted or broken right now. So I'm going to put these things back away, and I'm going to end my stream for the day. And we are going to edit this video, maybe cut out where my son came in here a couple of times, and we'll see what we can do. And hopefully people who are interested in this will be able to see it. Go out. If you play Magic the Gathering and you're just kind of tired of it for a little while, and you just want to try something new, talk to your local game store, see if they can get you some Force of Will. Like I said, I'm going to be setting up a Patreon account for this, and I've found that I have like about 10 or 15 of these playmats, so I'm probably going to do giveaways. Like I said, when I do box openings, like 4 or 5 random box opening cards go to my Patreons. I will set that up here in a little while. It's not about the money to make money. I mean, I hope people will want to support the channel so that I can do other things like box openings, or maybe use that money to buy a ticket to go to a cool event, like take my wife and my son to like Origins and get involved in seeing other games being played, so that I can come back and talk more to you about other games that are out there. But I hope everybody enjoyed this presentation about Force of Will and talking about who I am and what I want to do with this channel. But I am going to talk about, like I said, TCGs and CCG gamings and the electronic versions of them that are out there. And I hope people will pay attention and listen, and maybe it will get you out of your comfort zone of just sitting at home playing video games, and go out and play card games with some friends that you have. Or just buy some of the stuff from your local game stores or your card shops that are around the area, and go home and play it with your friends. It's a fun game. I think people will enjoy it, and we'll go from there. I will talk more about the actual game in depth a little later, and I'll see you. Have a good day.